Hey there, it's CJ Miller in Shreveport, Louisiana. Across the Red River is beautiful Bossier City, Louisiana. I know that the sky is very gray and cloudy this evening, this night. It's almost 10 o'clock at night. But, you know, that's such a relief from the heat that I'm welcoming it. Okay, I wanted to think about, let me flip the camera. Maybe. Aha, we'll change. I'll come under the light over here a little bit. See if what, is that any better? With this change. Haha, I don't know that it is. I need to come, there we go. I think I need back over here. Okay. Whatever. Um, so here's what I want to talk about. I want to talk about what's going on with my algorithms. Why do they seem like, just the most unrelative things to me? I thought algorithms were supposed to look at my habits and give me what's appropriate. I don't know. I think that the internet is a lot like TV. I think it's when I was growing up, we had three major networks. Sometimes, depending upon where you live, you might pick up one or two versions of uh, one of the major networks. But in general, you got those three networks, and then you could get like some local stuff, right? So, and then this chair that I'm sitting in is, hang on. Ha! I noticed that one of the slots in this wooden rocker uh, has just weakened. It's like maybe it's cracked like internally, but not visible on the outside anywhere. But there's a definite fault in there. But it'll probably be resolved if I come up with like maybe a cushion to put in the rockers or something. Like I was going to anyway, so that's fine. But anyway, yeah. Getting back to my topic, I think that, and then so you have maybe the three networks, and then some shortwave stuff on UHF on the UHF dial or whatever, and then of course cable started to, give access to TV where regular television signals were not being reached, and because that was the whole purpose of it. It wasn't really so much to be like, here's home box office and here's this or that or all the premium. And initially, it was it was basically, we're going to give you this because you're very rural and we want to, offer this to you because you're out of the typical range of where these signals are reaching. The signals are not reaching the antennas in the same way. Now, I don't know if that would be. It's a good thing that signals didn't reach, otherwise we wouldn't get the cable. But our cable systems now are kind of a combination of technology between different ways to get the radio waves, because it's all radio wave anyway, to get it through cable, through dish, to satellite, or to point to point on Earth, or whatever. But it's basically just a way to get the signals around or whatever. We've really, wow, right? Here's the thing. Initially, up until like the early 70s, I don't know when they started doing cable, but it didn't reach our area in Bossier City when I was growing up. We first got that special, when the first time I was aware of it was in the mid 1970s. And I guess it was maybe before then, I don't know, but I know that's when they came and they went around to everybody in the neighborhood, and everybody at the end of our, I would like to say it's a cul-de-sac, but it was basically a dead-end street that had houses surrounding it, but it wasn't so Knots Landing-ish or anything. But yeah, cul-de-sac, whatever. So anyway, we're French in Louisiana, some of us. And then anyway, yeah, so they came in and they did the cable installations. Uh, all there. Hey, we're bringing you cable. Now I don't know the story on that. I know that everybody was getting cable all at the same time, and big massive thing. Didn't take that long, but so we had the HBO, and I remember my sister. I was 5. She would have been 7 or 8 or whatever. But there was this, um, you know, the programming was not nearly as varied as it is now. Um, there was this movie called Thunder and Lightning, and it showed, there was one scene where there was one woman dancing topless in a bar. We just thought, my sister and I, we just thought that was like the raciest thing. Oh my God, So, so, I don't know. Anyway, that movie, Thunder and Lightning, and I don't even know what it was about, but it was a movie, and the scene that sticks out, because that's the one that always, was this woman, dancing topless on the bar. It was so funny. A fun memory, though. But anyway, not for, like, a sexualized reason or anything like that. It was just it wasn't even like a sense of naughtiness or whatever. It was just, I don't know, a peek into the adult world from a child. I wasn't like sexualized by it. I wasn't like corrupted by it or anything like that. I know that, but I was 5 years old, and I was just thinking, hey, this is a look inside of a bar. A little glimpse into the adult world. Because, in those days, children lived outside and they ran around. They lived in a whole, world of make-believe and fantasy and reenacting of Saturday morning cartoons and primetime family hour on TV. Those were our exposures. So it was kind of fun to see how the adult people were living. But it was still, whatever we got on TV was eventually, it was like, okay, well, you kind of overexposed and numb. And to, like, maybe not really numb, you enjoy it and everything like that, but you get a little, like, desensitized, not to the point of not feeling things, but the shock of it wears off with TV. And it's not that it rots your brain. I think it just kind of like, I don't know. You start thinking maybe what you're seeing on TV in all these different little ways, and they're called programs. But it's not that but it's more like, what I'm getting at. It's like what you're seeing on the TV or whatever. You think in some sort of way is maybe an exaggerated representation of real life. I don't know, but well, now I think that's happening on the internet to a much greater degree, and the reason why is because it's instead of local and network, that's more limited, and even with the cable that gradually expanded, and then it's dish TV, and then cable had to catch up with that. Cable and satellite TV basically became the same thing, because it's still satellite being beamed into one massive dish and then going throughout the neighborhoods or whatever. But it's what's really going on, I think, is that this is just an expansion of the same media. It's just there's so much out there, and it's so instant. It's like, we come online like this, and it's like, almost an instant talk show back and forth. What I don't really care for is that there's no real way that a lot of people look at something and can discern for themselves if it's fact or opinion. So much stuff is put out that's really opinion represented as fact. And also facts, sometimes the facts are statements. That's all they are. They are either true or they are either untrue. They can be proven either way. So just because something is a fact does not make it true. It can be a misrepresentation. It can be this particular group of factoids pulled together. We say factoids because it's fact combined with a tabloid-esque application of those facts, those little snippets. That's where the term factoid comes from, and it was way on back in the days of early television where that phrase was termed, or it may have been termed in a newspaper, but either way it's the same application. Factoid, facts used for salacious exploitation or something like that. Just, basically used to create or support a narrative that may or may not be the truth, And the worst, I think, today are the ones that come up and they say, so it's a meme, and so said this, or so did this, or so and something, and it may be like a moment out of their life, and it may be a paraphrase of a snippet of a conversation that we lose a lot from not having the full context. In either way, shape, or form, that these little memes or headlines or something come along, they're not the truth. They're not the full story. They never are. And I have had conversations with people in which, people take that and just run with it as if that's all there is. Like, this person said this, so they're wrong or terrible in this way, and if you don't agree, there must be something wrong with you. That's the thing, see? Having conversations that might have I don't know, that whatever seem to hit, and that a person has strong feelings about or whatever, one way or the other. If you can't entertain, or if you can't emotionally digest having a conversation that might involve any other position other than yours, you probably shouldn't be talking about anything that you get off of the internet, especially if you're one of those, supported news sites. You're not going to get everything. They're going to hide it from you, And this is some liberal people. These are liberal people telling me this. You're not going to get the full story. They're covering some stuff up. And it's like, you know what? I watch some of the most liberally represented news programs that are available on TV, and they're pretty damn liberal, and they pretty much do call out some bullshit, against those in power. Like, I watch a lot of CBS. CBS is no particular friend to Donald Trump. Not to get political or anything like that, because that's not what this is about. But for it to be told, hey, you don't get that you're getting a watered down or murky version. If anything, it would be a liberal slant to the news, so it would not be covering up the antics of bigotry and any of the phobias or anything like that. So yeah, you're not. Yeah, I don't know. I really get tired of talking to people that come at me with this. If you don't agree exactly the way that we do, then there's no validity to what you had to say. And this is like this is a liberal conversation that I'm thinking of. People who are, extreme liberals coming at like this, and this isn't about the politics. This is about the way that we talk about these things among ourselves and the way that we treat each other in these conversations. I was having a conversation with someone who extremely feels very strongly on these topics, to the point of having conversations and exclaiming that something must be wrong. There's something wrong. There must be, or whatever. And then I was like, yeah, but at least I'm a registered voter and I vote. And there are people out there who don't. They say, oh, I feel so strongly about this, but I don't want to register to vote because, I don't know, on the off chance that I get called for jury duty or something like that, And it's just, oh my God. If you feel passionate about something, that you can have an opinion, that you can express it, that you can be counted, your voice can be counted, maybe even influence. Have some influence and you'll be an influential person instead of someone just spinning the wheels, clacking the tongue, running off at the mouth. Basically, you could have, like, just by one pull of a lever, you can weigh in on the side that you want to weigh in on, and I was just a generalize, because that's not about one person. There's a lot of people who do this, like have this conversation, but then don't vote. Imagine the power of your political association if everybody that felt mostly on the side that you weigh in at, be you liberal, be you conservative, be you somewhere in the middle, whatever your party, as the old typing practice sentence goes, now is the time for all good men to come to the aid of their party. So, yeah. I guess the only real point here is vote, Because, yeah, internet is just an expanded form of television, movie, film, I guess film, whatever. Radio, television, film, whatever. It's all, it's widespread information media, and when it comes to anything representing itself as news, if we're going to talk about it, we owe ourselves to do those deep dives so that we actually don't go out and act abusively to the people who are supposed to be our friends and neighbors if they have a different take, Most truth is based on perception. There are some things that we can agree on that are bad. What we don't always agree on, what the consequences are. We don't always agree to what leads up to those moments, those moments that spark the controversy, the conversation that we want to have, or whatever. We don't always agree to causality. We don't always agree to effect. We don't always agree to motive. And the real fact is only this: if somebody gets shot, The fact is that somebody got shot, and somebody shot somebody else. That's and it may not, it's and until we know whether it was an accident or, but that's just a random thing. It's a gruesome example. But what if it's something else? What if we say that? Okay, so from here, there's a pool, a swimming pool down. What if I were to have a little paper airplane, and I wanted to maybe kind of soar it off my balcony? Just kind of, yay, Can you see my airplane? No, this is me. Okay, up here. Yay, I'm throwing the airplane, right? Over my balcony. I want it to, like, kind of glide down and land on the grass so that I can go down and get it. But I think it would be cool to see that. But what if it catches a wind or a breeze or something, and it goes the other way, and it goes like inside of that fence and pool and lands in the water or something where I can't get to it? So the truth is, the fact is, there's an airplane in that pool. The fact is that I threw the airplane. What is subject to everybody who observes that is my motivation. Did I intend to throw the airplane into the pool? Or did I intend to throw it to the grass, and then I was going to go down and grab it after I just saw something that was kind of cool? And then I didn't intend to litter and leave that litter or anything like that. You know what I mean? So, yeah. Not that either way, not that I wouldn't have a responsibility to that result. However, the motive, that's where people start getting into issues and big debates. Mostly the facts can be agreed upon, but then there gets to be a confusion as to what is after the happening of the incident, after the incident. What is opinion? What is fact? People really get confused on that, or they don't. Maybe they just get so sucked up into the conversation and the contest of it that they're willing to say and manipulate and misrepresent. Maybe it's not even a passion anymore. Maybe it just becomes a tug of war of wills, and I don't know. People trying to impress each other with what they think is intellect, when often people just don't know all of the situation. And what does it matter anyway if the people aren't gonna get off their ass and go out and vote? But what I have decided to do is to take it all, specifically for the purpose of entertainment, and decidedly there's little educational purpose. I suppose I can get exposed to some new ideas, and I hope that I do. But saying, hey, what about, and let's look at this. Have you ever thought about, it's a little bit of a critical thinking kind of thing, kind of like, hey, what if, blah, 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 but it's not necessarily, that whole, proven point to be educated about. There's very little of that, and especially in the news media or whatever. So, I guess sometimes I'll back away from people that I don't know, that talk as if they're in a parade, a march or something like that, but literally never take any action as such like getting up and voting. It's like if you care enough to quibble with the friend, and to a point of aggravation, if you're gonna aggravate your associates to that point, isn't it at least important enough to vote? If not, what's the point in the conversation? I'm interested. If you are in the comments, I'd like to know what it is that you get out of the use of the internet. I'm looking for entertainment. I'm looking for that. I'm looking for things to fill some time, maybe some new ideas and everything like that. But I'm not really gonna get my news and my information, from that kind of stuff, because there's agenda involved in that. So I have to do a deep search and look at all that kind of stuff myself. What I can look at the fact, but the the motivation behind the act, and that kind of tells us where we're headed. So yeah. But I'm interested in what you want to think about this, what you have to say in a non-insulting, non-controlling, non-manipulative type of conversation. I would always welcome that. I'm CJ Miller. I'm in Shreveport, Louisiana. Across the Red River is beautiful Bossier City, Louisiana. Come check us out. Lots of fun things to do. Peace, love, and light. Good night. Oh, and later on I'll be talking about Peacemaker, Season 2, Episode 2. Boy, that first one, whew, it was entertaining. Really? Well, okay. Ciao.